Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Cedarville Stories Podcast. I'm Mark Weinstein, and today on the podcast, I'm talking with Matt Black, a student who has a bright future ahead of him. Matt is an entrepreneur, having started Matt Black Media during COVID. Today, the business is thriving as Matt is shooting videos and taking photos for some of today's leading Christian musicians. We'll talk about this on today's podcast. Matt is studying broadcast, digital media, and journalism at Cedarville University, and he's from the Tampa, Florida area. Let's go to my conversation today with Matt Black on the Cedarville Stories Podcast. Let's begin today's podcast with some personal questions. We'll discuss the video and photography work later on the podcast, but for starters, Matt, what do you like most about being a college student?
Oh man, probably just like the atmosphere.
What does that mean, atmosphere?
Yeah, so it's really the trust that a lot of adults I see have given to young people now.
Yeah.
I mean, in high school, the trust really wasn't there. And even in their, early years of college, the trust had to be built. But now, I'm able to voice my opinion and just have meaningful conversations with people, 10, 20, 30 years older than me on an equal level. And I think that that environment has been really helpful.
Where is that? Where has that happened? For you?
A lot in politics.
Okay.
But also just within just general discussion with people. If, I'm on set somewhere or I'm working at an event, I'm able just to talk to, these people who are higher up than I am, just like ask them for advice,
Okay.
get their wisdom from things.
Okay.
They don't see me as like this random kid asking questions, but they see me as like someone who's like really wanting valuable insight.
Yeah. I don't know where this is going to go, but I know, and for me, as an example, some students are highly organized, some are less organized, and they are prone to procrastinate. I don't know where you are in that spectrum, but if you're a procrastinator, which I suspect maybe you are, what's your favorite way to procrastinate?
Oh man.
Is that a good question?
That's a good question. See, I procrastinate in some things. Like when it comes to, schoolwork, sometimes, I can put it a little aside for a couple of days. But my favorite thing to procrastinate is going to be weird, but it's just to work on just other video content. There's times when I know I have to get a paper done, but then I'm like, you know what? I'm going to spend that 2 hours and just make a random Instagram reel or edit just some random photos just for fun, just because I just want to push off the paper a little bit longer. And so, yeah, that's usually what gets me trapped, especially at night.
Okay.
I know like there's this book I got to read or this paper I really got to write, but then in the back of my head, I'm like, I remember getting this cool shot a couple weeks ago, and I just have to just edit it down because I just can't get it out of my head. And so that's the biggest like procrastinator thing I have going on. It's unique.
So are you the kind of person who, when he has a deadline, and it's a firm deadline, that the longer you wait to get it done, maybe even the better it's going to be done because you have to really, really focus on that issue in a very short window of time?
I think so, because the pressure is on.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like I have 4 weeks to get something done, and some cases I do. But whenever there's, I have 2 or 3 days, or even one night to get something done, I'm able to put all my energy and focus into that. And for the most part, I found that I get better outcomes from it. I don't know the science or anything behind it,
Right.
but I think it's just the pressure element of, perfection isn't attainable, but excellence is. And so just that aspect of, really wanting to put out a good product, even in a short amount of time, is something I really strive to do and so forth. So, yeah.
Yeah, that quote, wasn't that Mark Adams?
Yeah, Mark Adams. Yeah. So Parker Adams' dad. So Mark Adams. Yeah.
So knowing your story a little bit, when you were out of high school, when you finished in high school, you decided to, I'll say, take a gap year.
Mm-hmm.
You went to Word of Life in Florida. What prompted you to make that decision to go to Word of Life? And then the second part of the question is, how did that 1 year at Word of Life prepare you to become a student at Cedarville University?
Yeah. So Word of Life was a great experience for me. I can kind of see it as a gap year, but I see it more as a ministry year for me.
Okay.
Out of high school, I went to public school, so all the public school things would go around that. I didn't, I was out of trouble and everything. I had good grades, but I think it was really important for me to take a step back out of the normal like education system of math, science, and reading, and really just dive into God's word and learn as much as I can about that and get a firm foundation underneath me before I really jump into, quote, adulthood. So I think that was really important, not only in my spiritual life, but in my professional life as well. I was able to mature quickly just with the different opportunities that was given with me within that year. And that has really helped and carried over into Cedarville.
Okay. So let's gradually move into the bulk of today's program is going to be about your interest in video work and photography.
Mm-hmm.
So while at Word of Life, I suspect from talking to you, you didn't have a clear direction on what you're going to do.
Yeah.
But Word of Life helped you focus or gain a focus that was more clear that working in photography, videography was something that really caught your attention. How did Word of Life help you focus to get that clarity of what your career, your ministry could look like?
Yeah. I always say that Word of Life changed my life. The summer before my first year as a Bible Institute student, I was on the summer media team. And in doing so, I had the opportunity for 9 weeks during the summer to help create camp videos and work on a team within the ministry that I really care about and just doing all video and media content. And I think that summer was the year that I really started to feel like this is what God's directed me towards. And then going into my Bible Institute year, I had the incredible opportunity to be the video supervisor during the year. So I was the RA over the other students in the media department. And then the following summer, I was the video supervisor over 2 other camp crew guys, so 2 other high schooler guys during the summer. So I was able to train them in video and how to do their job, but also be able to disciple them and just live life with them. And so that journey of starting the previous summer of I had a supervisor above me and I was like, I want to do that. And then the very next year I was doing that exact same thing. And then just with the doors that God opened within that was just really gave me the insight I needed to be like, hey, God, this is what you're, directing me towards. All the doors are opening. And then Cedarville was just the big open door that I saw. And so,
okay, so let's go there with Cedarville. So even though Cedarville was the open door that you saw, there was a time in your life that you didn't want to go to college, or at least you didn't think you wanted to go to college. So why, what happened that made you want to go to college, and why did you pick Cedarville?
Yeah. So it's a lot of things. One of them was I'm very work driven. And so I liked the idea in my head of being able to graduate Word of Life and just go straight into work at a job for someone. I had a couple people tell me like, hey, we can hire you. We'd like to hire you and things like this. And those are always just a couple of things that are just in the back of my head of like, do I really need school? Do I really need to grow more in my craft, or can I just jump into work right now and learn on the job? Kind of like I have been the whole year before. And so I prayed about it for a long time. And Cedarville was always on my mind, but financially I wasn't really able to really make the decision to. But God provided. I got a couple of scholarships to come here. My church helped as well, and so through that, I was able to come to Cedarville at a pretty well affordable cost for me. As both my parents work in ministry.
Okay.
So just the tuition here. I mean, it's it's a rigorous education, so it wasn't really something that I think was a available decision until I had the scholarships. But once I saw that God opened all these financial doors for me, I was like, you know what? This is what God's, pointing me towards, and I'm just going to jump right into it, despite some anxieties and different worries behind that. So,
okay. So down the same path, similar path, I should say. So you didn't really know if you wanted to go to college.
Yeah.
In your life, you're 19, 20 years old.
20, yeah.
20. I'm sure there have been times in your life where there's something for you to do or you don't want to do it, but after you do it, you're glad you did it. What are some of those examples of things that you've had to do, but you really didn't want to do, but you were thankful that you did do?
Yeah. I mean, the biggest thing is coming to Cedarville. Um, I'm extremely thankful that I took the leap of faith to come travel, 1,000 miles from Florida up to Ohio. All the doors that God has opened, all the people I've been able to meet, even just our connection from just the very first semester has been really valuable to me. I've grown a lot more than I ever thought I would, both spiritually and professionally. And so I think that's just the biggest thing of just, doing something that I didn't really know if I wanted to do, but really afterwards seeing like, okay, yes, I'm seeing the fruits of the labor behind it, and
Yeah.
it's been really valuable for me.
Good. So generally speaking, you and I are in the same business. We're storytellers. I tell stories through words. You tell stories through video and photography. So big picture, how did you get interested in photography and videography?
Yeah, so this is a fun journey. In 2018, I actually started working at Word of Life in New York as a high school volunteer during one of their camps as a audio visual volunteer. So I was in the sound booth working
Okay.
the different chapels and events and things like that. And I really fell in love in the production side of things because that's just what was offered to me. And then right before COVID in 2020, our family relocated down from New York all the way to Florida. And when we came down here, there was no opportunities available for me in the production world. And I was really disappointed through that. And so I kind of wavered on like what I wanted to do. I explored other options. I ended up working at UPS for a while and really enjoying like the mail and postal side of
Okay.
things. And I thought, maybe I can, do this for full time. But that door closed, and then pretty soon after, the one within media opened. The marketing coordinator for Word of Life, his name's Dylan. He just offered me one day just to shadow him one day during the summer, and I took that. And the first day that I got one of the cameras in my hand, took photos, and just saw just the fun behind it and
Yeah.
the ministry opportunity that it provided. I was like, wow, this is something like really special. And I didn't really know what to expect afterwards. Like if you would have told me 5 years ago that I'd be at Cedarville studying this, I wouldn't believe you.
Yeah.
It's just been a crazy journey. And after that moment, it's just all been kind of going up from there. I mean, obviously with some highs and lows, but just the opportunities that God has opened and continuing to provide for me has really just been, just a blessing.
So you've got your interest really in what you're doing now at Word of Life. Really, not much before that.
No.
So it's relatively new, but you've really done well. So with that said, I know for me, in my career, I've been blessed to have mentors who have helped me, who have spoken into my life, who have challenged me. And I'm sure the same is with you. Who are some mentors in your life that have helped you get to where you are personally and professionally behind the camera? Who are some of those people?
On the personal level, my parents have been big mentors of me. They've been my biggest supporters. And I'm really grateful for that because there's a lot of students who their parents aren't really supportive of what they want to do, whether it's wanting to work in ministry or even go to church or go to a school like this. So my parents have been one of my biggest supporters, even though they're still trying to understand the whole camera thing and media thing and social media, what all that means. It's been really fun just to watch them just grow in love with what I do as I do it.
Right.
And then on the professional side, just the people who work for Word of Life, they opened their arms wide open for me graciously and took me under their wing. I already mentioned Dylan Franklin. Josh Palhamus is another one. He's works a lot with the kind of international ministries side of things. And then a guy named Eli Elmore. He's a photographer that went to Word of Life as a student, and then I just connected with him. And he's currently doing a lot of stuff in the Jacksonville area, working for the NFL and other things like that, and concerts and so forth.
Okay.
And so, seeing just what opportunities a camera can lead you into, and what kind of the power of the tool behind it, really intrigued me, and it just led me to asking a lot of questions and just having people to just lean on and be mentored under. And all those people I've mentioned, they're not even meant. Sorry, all those people that I mentioned not only mentored me, know, businessly and how to work camera, but also spiritually. They always made sure to just point me always in the direction of like, hey, this is what God provided. Hey, you know, you might like what you're doing now, but remember to give all the glory back to Him because it can be taken away from you
Yeah.
in an instant.
That's wise. So last year when we talked, yeah, I remember you having an internship with Parker Adams. Did that help direct your path, or how did Parker help you in professionally?
Yeah, that was a real unique opportunity to work on Unsung Hero within the post production side of things, and that kind of gave me another, I guess, idea of what I want to do, because I've always been kind of in the event coverage space and the
Okay.
event media space for the longest time, because that's just what I've been doing. That's just the jobs I had, and then being able to take a step into the film world was really interesting. It showed me the difficulties behind it and the challenges it brings, but also the availability and the need in it, especially within the Christian kind of more faith and values based film. I mean, like Parker always says, the more these films do better and increase, the more the gospels be able to share to the
Correct.
world through Hollywood.
Right.
And that really struck, I guess, a passion behind me of like, whether I do want to work within film or more on the corporate media side, doing it, especially for a ministry or even in the secular world, has a lot of power behind it just because of the availability to spread the gospel through it, especially to countries that aren't open to it.
What our viewers and listeners may be surprised is, as a 20-year-old, actually 19 probably at the time, maybe 18, I'm not sure, you created your own business, Matt Black Media. So here's a multi-part question. So what kind of work do you do at Matt Black Media, and who are some of your clients?
Yeah. So I do a lot of, it's all freelance work. So it's photo and video.
Okay.
And so for the most part, as of recently, I've been doing a lot of concert work, working just with different CCM artists. Actually, tomorrow I'm shooting for Danny Gokey and Mac Powell in Troy, Ohio.
Okay.
And then I've been able to work with for King Country and Winter Jam and a bunch of other artists. But beyond just music, I mean, I've been able to shoot a lot of weddings and shoot a lot of different events. Like, I mean, I did one with you last semester.
Yeah, the Xenia Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah, the Xenia Chamber of Commerce. It was, I mean, I haven't done anything like that before, and it was super fun. And so just the opportunities that, again, the camera as a tool has to serve other people through your skill sets is what I really enjoy the most about it. I mean, my tagline is "Seek to Serve," so that's just kind of been one of the driving points behind of why I do what I do.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That "Seek to Serve" is a General Renoism. Did you know
Really?
that?
I did not know that.
Oh, yeah, I learned that from him myself.
Okay.
Yeah, "Seek to Serve." So when you're shooting concerts, okay, you got one with Mac Powell and Danny Gokey. You were embedded, I thought, for a while with King and Country.
For a little bit, yeah, just with the Unsung Hero connection.
Tell us what you were doing there, and what was that like to be touring with them?
Oh, it was just for 2 days.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean that was really fun. It was during fall break, which was super convenient on the schoolwork side. But I mean their productions are on another level, and so just to be able to see how all that works, because I mean, again, I come from a more production background, and so at the pre-show, I just sat there and just looked at all the lights and looked at all the rigging. I was just like perplexed behind it. And I went up to Matt Smallbone. I don't know if you know who he is. He's one of the Smallbone brothers, and I just talked to him for like 15 minutes about just like how all of it's rigged, and we were both just able to talk shop through that, and that was a really cool experience. But yeah, I mean, a lot of my recent work with concerts has been actually through the Arc Encounter. And so during the beginning of the semester, for 4 weekends straight, I was at the Arc, Friday and Saturday, shooting their 40 days and 40 nights tour. And so I got to shoot a lot of different artists from Crowder, Casting Crowns, David Leonard, And that was a really unique opportunity because I not only built some really good short term connections, but I built really good long term connections. The guy who runs kind of the ARC, the 40-day, 40-night tour, his name is Ray Flynn. He's the CEO of Abraham Productions, which is one that kind of puts on the entire thing.
Okay.
And a couple weeks ago, he called me and said, "Hey, I really like what you did. I really like the value that you brought, not only to my company, but uh, just showcasing what we do as whole. And next year, I want to employ you to do a lot of the content for us during the tour." So just taking the opportunity this year of doing it just unpaid and just doing it out of love for God, but also just because I really enjoy it. It's fun. Led to a really meaningful connection.
Yeah. So how do these people find you to get you to do this kind of work?
Yeah. So for the most part, it's through just different connections I make, whether it's tour managers or different artists, but sometimes it's even through social media.
Okay.
I'll have there's been a couple of times I've had some people message me, or I would message them, and they'd see my message, and then they go look at my portfolio and be like, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about. He's not just a random fan trying to come backstage or whatever. He actually wants to serve us in a meaningful way. So I've found social media to be a really valuable tool to get into a lot of these events and just serve these artists in the way to not only promote them, but in the end, promoting the gospel.
So you said a couple of times you want to serve the artist in a meaningful way.
Mhm.
First, unpack that. How do you serve these artists in a meaningful way?
Yeah, one of them is just going above and beyond and providing content for them, whether it's photo or video, but just doing so in a way that's like, because it's very easy to become prideful in this, because you can be like, hey, look at me, I'm, shooting for this person, I'm working for this person,
Right.
and that actually was a struggle of mine at the beginning, a year and a half ago. I was like, hey, I'm doing all these cool things like
Yeah.
no one else is. And then I look back, I'm like, dang, those photos were trash. Like they were just not good. There's nothing to brag about. And I learned that because I had a couple people come up to me and be like, hey, this is the opportunity that can be taken away very quickly. Because again, it is a professional environment. And if you don't act professionally, there's no need for you anymore.
Yeah.
And so I've learned to, through that, again, remember where my glory should go, not to myself, because anyone can take a photo, but it all goes to the Lord.
Yeah. Well, not anyone can take a good photo. So what does it take to take a good photo? What sets your photographs and your videos apart from something that I would do if I was contracted by Crowder or Mac Powell? What sets your photos and videos over mine?
Just a lot of time and practice and having an eye for it. Uh, I think there's a lot of intuition that comes with it, and that comes I found through my live production experience from running camera and working different. Here I work for PSG, and so just being saturated in the music field, and getting all these different camera angles constantly has helped me become a better shooter of like, okay, when I hear a super fun hype song, I know where to be in the arena and in the stage. And if I hear a more slower song that gives me the time to go way up high in the seats and get the super wide shots, knowing that I'm not really gonna miss, a cool jump or a cool thing like that. To where it's all about timing, I found.
Okay.
So because some people, my first concert ever shot, I just kind of stayed in one area and just was attached to the single artist, and I didn't really open my eyes to what was around me, the crowd, and just the different elements that a production actually has. And through just practice and reps and talking to people and talking to different photographers and learning from others, I was able to really craft just the art behind shooting. Because anyone can go and go to a sunflower field and take cool photos, but once you enter kind of the event space and the concert space, there's not only difficulties behind it, but there's a lot of rules behind it. If you don't know the rules and the different, I guess, dangers that come with it, because I mean, if you're over a confetti cannon at the wrong moment, you're not going to be having a great time. Or even just
Has that ever happened to you?
No, no, no. I make sure to just ask people, hey, what songs is this, and what song does this happen?
So do you get a rundown of the performance?
Yes. I try to ask for uh, I lost my head of what it's called.
Run sheet?
Sure, we'll call it a run sheet of just what happens. I know the songs, the
Right.
orders, and for the most part, I know the songs. Whether it's because I listen to Christian music all the time, but one of the things I do is before I go shoot a concert. Since we live in the middle of cornfields, every concert has been like 45 to an hour drive for me.
Right.
And so I just put on their music and listen to it, and I try to get into the headspace, into the style of their music. And so for King Country, for example, they are super energetic, super fun, super
Right.
wild and loud. And I knew that I had to shoot in a super fun and dynamic way, which is way different than shooting for, let's say, Chris Tomlin, which is a little bit slower, a little
Sure.
bit more
Calm.
artistic and
Right.
calm. I can't be running around a stadium when there's a Chris Tomlin concert, but when there's for King Country, I'm able to move around quickly and get what I need.
So King Country loud, maybe Mac Powell's
Mhm.
maybe a little loud too. Do you wear anything in the ears to
Yeah.
protect your ears?
Yeah, I do. I learned that the hard way. One of the first events I shot, his name's Tim Bowman. It was a concert that the local radio station in Florida was putting on. I said, hey, I'll go shoot this. I got a pass. I was able to get in. And man, it was loud. It was an outdoor concert, which, they have to pump it a little bit louder just because of the outdoor space. And being right on stage in front of the subwoofers, I mean, the next couple of days, it was tough. I had a little bit of ringing in my ears, and I said, okay, I can't do that anymore. And so I bought these, they're called high fidelity earplugs, where basically instead of like the normal cheap ones that kind of like mute, like sounds like you're underwater, they just bring the decibel level down. So I'm able to just do my job and do what I do safely.
And you can still hear the music.
Oh, very, very clear. It's crisp clear.
Yeah.
It even cuts out some of the crowd noise too. So I'm
Okay.
really able to like hear what's happening on stage.
So when you're shooting a concert, are you contracted to shoot so many pictures? And then typically how many photos do you take for a concert?
Yeah. So how it usually works, it all depends on your access level. So if you just have a general media badge, you're only permitted the first 3 songs up in the photo pit, and then all the rest of the concert you kind of have to shoot with a tighter lens or even a wider lens, just out in the audience level.
Okay.
And then within, you move up all the way. You can get an all access badge where you have free reign to do pretty much almost whatever you want. Get behind the stage, get just different unique angles. But also with following just the different rules and asks of the tour managers. But with there's not really a photo limit that that I hit. I mean, I've been in ranges from 2,000 photos in a night to 10,000 photos in a night, which
Really?
10,000 was extreme. That was my first concert. Never doing that many again because that was a pain to go through every single one. But no, I haven't really had a limit on what I can do. It's just capture what you can in the time you have and see what you can create.
And then the artists, they use that for social media, website.
Social media, website, whatever they want.
Yeah.
I would say the biggest, I don't know, encouragement that I've seen some people do, whether it's an artist or whether it's like someone who plays saxophone or piano, is actually use one of my photos for their profile picture on social media or something like that. That's like if you want to really make your photographer happy, use one of their photos as your portfolio picture or your profile picture.
And do you get photo credit for those?
Mhm.
That's nice.
Yeah, and so that's one of the coolest things because through that, other people are like, "Hey, who is this guy?" And then I've had other people reach out to me, even with the non-concert things, like, "Hey, we see so and so reposted your stuff. We'd like to find a way to work with you."
Yeah, it's neat to follow your short career, your relatively short career, and since you've been here as a student. And but let's wrap this conversation up with a couple bigger picture questions. So while we know from Scripture that man has our plans. We have what we want to do. We have our vision. This is what we're going to do, but we know God directs our steps. With that said, what's your vision for your future? And perhaps how do you see it aligning with God's plan?
Yeah, that's a really hard question that I'm still trying to work through because I have my foot in so many different doors. And so just trying to figure out what the right door to step into has been a challenge for me. But I don't really have a clear idea of what I want to do because I mean the music space is a really tight niche and it's really difficult to get into, especially full time and career wise.
Okay.
So I'm kind of more focusing more on the kind of internal marketing side of things of kind of like what I do for Cedarville for
Okay.
just creating marketing videos or maybe working for a production company and doing things with them. I've always had the option to work for a ministry is always available because ministry is where all this started for me, and so I feel like I need to use my skill sets in some way or another to grow the kingdom, whether it is within the secular world and having my testimony
Yeah.
in way at work be a light, or whether if I am working for a ministry and providing a value that they need.
Yeah. Our time is up.
Mhm.
One final question before we wrap, and that is, as a young entrepreneur, as a young business owner, what advice would you give to someone who maybe wants to start their own business,
Yeah.
or they're just looking for a way to be successful in life? What advice would you give them?
Yeah. The biggest piece of advice I've been given is to say yes and take the opportunities you have. Even if you don't really see the fruit and labor behind the opportunity, there's always something that can come from it, whether it's a learning experience or a connection or something like that. And so just making yourself available and saying yes is the biggest thing that has helped me throughout my career.
That's good advice. Let me speak to the viewers and the listeners directly. So, I encourage you to take Matt's advice. And if you're interested, or of a student who's interested in studying broadcasting, journalism, digital media, I encourage you to visit Cedarville University's website, cedarville.edu, and just search on broadcast, digital media, and journalism, and you'll learn more about the program, and it may be a great fit for you. So I take that advice as well and check up Cedarville University. Matt, our time is up. It's always good to be with you.
Yeah, always.
Thanks for being transparent, and I wish you well in your endeavors.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you for listening to the Cedarville Stories Podcast, brought to you by Cedarville University. Be sure to come back next week when we'll share another Cedarville story for God's glory.